Lil Kim's 31, and we have Lauryn Hill coming in at 30. We'll get to that. Pusha T at 29. Black Thought at 28.
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah. You want me to read what they said? They said listening to Black Thought is like enrolling in a masterclass of lyricism. Somebody's been listening to you. Tariq Trotter, co-founder of the legendary Roots crew and long-running Philly band's leader and leading MC, still amazes rap fans with his electrifying steam of consciousness, radio freestyles, and brilliant live performances. When Black Thought joined forces with supreme lyricists such as Eminem, Royce the 5'9", Big Pun, or Joey Badass and Russ, the combination elevates the craft and technique of rap to another level. Rapping since 1993, Black Thought continues to grow more polished as one of the genre's greatest MCs. You Got Me with Erykah Badu. It's a crossover duet for the Roots, platinum-selling album. Things Fall Apart. Remaining shining moments. Thanks to his rich baritone and reviving storytelling. When it comes down to the pieces that they're putting down for these artists, they know their stuff. Whoever's writing these little blurbs for the
No, they're
countdown.
not. No, they're not. All they're doing is biting our style and paraphrasing it.
Well, they're at
That's
least
really what's
trying.
going on. It's just biting my style and paraphrasing it. What Go say on the Shark Biter skit? You take a little word and you
Flip
flip
it.
it, and then boom.
you know,
That's
the
all.
real is
That's all.
back.
That's all that's really going on. I mean, the dissection is nice. I'm not going to quibble too much with the 28 slide. It feels slightly low. He still feels top 25 to me, even with some of the misgivings catalog wise as a solo MC. I mean, I know. Go ahead,
He's
keep
still
going.
going too. Um, my guy Q-Tip is at 27. That's
See,
around where we got him.
yeah, but we can't have, but that's very problematic that you think Q-Tip is a slot ahead of Black Thought. This is what I mean about how they're not really thinking about it. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They're piecing some people together, like next to each other. It's like, oh, well, let's pick this style of MC right here in this pocket right here. It's like, don't do that.
yeah. It's like conscious, mainstream conscious. Q-Tip, co-founder of the alternative hip hop group, A Tribe Called Quest. What is
Alternative.
alternative hip hop group? I want to know. What does
What the
that mean?
hell?
Alternative to what exactly? I don't know.
Like, their drums are like they're
What's
like Q-Tip's.
alternative about Tribe?
Like, I don't know, Q-Tip's drums are the closest thing we have to like Clyde Stubblefield in this genre, wouldn't you say, in terms of like the influence of
Yeah,
the drum?
I don't know.
I don't know what's going on
Anyway,
anymore.
do
I don't know what's going
they
on
consider
anymore.
do they consider Eminem alternative rap?
It's very problematic. We're not touching that right now. We're not going to have time to do that today.
Anyway, Q-Tip, co-founder of the alternative hip hop group A Tribe Called Quest, has been on point for 30 years. Um, let's see,
Alternative.
alternative, yeah. Tip's laid back, smooth talking flow came peppered in the immortal, all this jazzy talk. Okay, I got you.
Next.
Blah blah blah. Okay, 26, Big Pun.
Like,
Just
this is
not
what I'm
enough
saying.
work.
You can't make a viable. I love Pun.
I love
This is
Pun
not.
too.
You cannot make a viable argument to put Pun ahead of somebody like Q-Tip, who is like the author, the main author of the Low End Theory and Midnight Marauders, and has made
Black
solo
Thought.
records like, no.
Yeah.
Like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that to Thought and Q-Tip. This is what I mean about how it's like, well, they sound like they know their stuff, but that's really just because they're jacking my shit and paraphrasing. So it sounds like you know what you're talking about, but you do not know what you are talking about.
I want to be clear, man, because Pun, I loved Pun when he was here. People have just done too much for him to be rated this high.
His two
Right.
albums outrank like what Q-Tip's just contributions like to Tribe.
Honestly,
Ah,
man, it's just capital punishment because the second album was not, that.
was it even finished? Or was
Nah,
it just not that
I
good?
don't think so. Yeah, it wasn't.
I
And
feel
like
like
you said, and it's not his fault. I think it was a lot going on. I think that even if he would have lived to release the album, he would have looked at that as like a sophomore, Jinx type of album, and came back with the third album, kind of like on some I'm back type of shit. So
if he finished that album, that's not a good thing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because my assumption is that the
yeah,
album struggled because he didn't get the opportunity to finish it. But if
yeah,
that was if that was the true follow up to Capital Punishment, that's very dog father ish.
yeah. I mean, really, man. And I think that, when people talk about our list, and we're not even going to talk about our list today, we'll go down a whole rabbit hole. I'm confident in the fact that those top 30 that we have, anybody outside of, let's just say 20, 25, anybody outside of that 25 radius, it would be nearly impossible for them to beat any of those people in that top 20 to 30 in a versus. Now, if Pun does the verses, how many songs is he going to be able to actually play? And who could Pun actually beat in a versus? If we talk about the music, then we know his abilities were his abilities. But who could Pun actually beat? And that's where it becomes unfair to the people who've put in that work. You know what I mean?
I think I think what Versus did provide us that we need to laud them for is that they provided us like kind of like a little bit of a baseline measuring stick, if that makes sense, Mike.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you ain't got 20 records to do this?
Yep. That's a buy-in.
Hold on. If you ain't got 20, well, how can you be 26?
I don't even know. I think
Like, how
15
about this?
would be a stretch.
Hold on. How about
Features
this?
included.
Like, look at what Rick Ross would do to Big Pun in a Versus.
Yeah.
Who's at 50, right? Ross at 50?
Yeah.
Pun at 26?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, you can't do that. Look at Ross' catalog.
It's not fair.
It's not fair.
It's not.
It's not fair. It's not fair specifically to guys like Ross or like Game, who always kind of get left like right outside that top tier.
Yeah, because I don't think Game's gonna
Pun,
make this.
Like
list.
We know Pun is a better MC than them. Like we know this.
Yeah.
We've heard Capital Punishment. Ross and Game can't do Dream Shattering.
I don't think Game's gonna make this list, and I honestly, from what I see,
I told you he wasn't making this list.
I don't think Cam's gonna make this list either.
No.
And Cam and Pun were right there with each other. There's no way in the world that Pun could
You
beat
saw when
Cam
they put Jadakiss and Redman. What made you think Game and Cam were making the list?
Yeah.
Kiss barely made the list, Mike.
Right. And there's no way that Pun is beating Cam in a versus. It's not fair to Pun, and it's not fair to the people who have surpassed everything that, I don't say everything that he's done, but surpassed him musically because he wasn't here to, continue on. It's not fair to them to have Pun at 26.
And let's just address the kind of like small elephant in the room. It might be like Dumbo size, but Big did 2 albums too, and it's like, look how much classic shit came out of those 2 albums.
But see, that's the thing, and like you said, I think Versus did a great thing there, because if we put Big in that Versus situation, it's no question.
Everybody's in trouble except Snoop, Mike.
Yeah. And the fact that he was able to do that with 2 albums, so it's not about the number of albums, it's about the quality of that work in that period. So we're not saying because you got 2 albums you ain't in. We're just saying, like, does Pun have 20 joints to go up against anybody who's top 30 in this genre? Like, does he?
No, look at it like
Big
this.
does.
How about this? Black Thought's at 28. In order for Pun to come up with 20, he would have to play Super Lyrical with Black Thought in that 20. You understand that?
Yeah.
That would be one of the 20 best records. You think Thought needs to play 20 joints and he got Pun any?
No. Jay Short with the Super Chat says, speaking of beats, a lot of the credit for Too Short has to go to Ant Banks. Yeah, definitely. He still might have the best production ever for a North Cal artist. Short knew how to make music for your car. Yeah, he did. Ant Banks don't get enough credit. That's a
I
good
agree.
find.
Ant Banks doesn't get enough credit. We should maybe reach out to him next.
I think we should.
West.
I was thinking the same thing.
I was
Andrew
thinking
L.
the same
Green with the
thing.
super chat says the Pac movie depicted Dre starting to separate himself from Death Row around the time that All Eyes on Me is being recorded. Probably why he only had 2 beats. I mean, I don't know how those biopics go, but
Yeah, we'll find out on Monday.
yeah, we'll find out.
Yeah, well, that's love.
Uh,
He seems very like open to talk about all his experiences. That like he knows who he is. Like he
yeah,
knows how important this is that it gets documented properly too.
exactly. Number 25, Method Man. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah.
I think
I think
people have
that's
been
fair.
listening. Yeah, yeah. Number 24, KRS-One. Let me read this real quick.
Pause.
So there's 23 MCs better than KRS-One.
We're smoking rocks. You smoke rocks, Sam. You smoke rocks. If your friends tell you to jump off a building, do you do it?
This makes me think Cool G Rap's not going to be on the list at all.
Duh. I'm worried about Kane right now, aren't you?
I am, but I'm not. But you know what? If Kane doesn't make the list, that's just a bad look for the list, like altogether.
Okay, so you think that Kane and hold on, so you think right now from where we stand, so LL's making this list, right? They're not that dumb.
Yeah, LL's making this list.
Now Kane, G-Rap, and Slick Rick are still out there. They didn't name Slick Rick already, did they?
I didn't see Slick Rick, I don't think. No.
It's very problematic what's going on in these streets.
Hold on. Is Slick Rick on this list? I want to go up and see just to make sure. Now I'm going to start at 50 just to see who we missing. Yeah, I don't want to assume that. But I don't remember.
KRS-One is at 24.
Yeah.
And Slick Rick and Kane are not on here, who literally have one classic. Listen to what I'm saying. Who have one classic apiece. I'd like to read off some of KRS-One's credentials right quick, if I may, Mike.
Well, let me go through this just to make sure the Slick Rick ain't on here, right? 50, Rick Ross. 49, Rev Run. Melly Mel, 48. 47, MC Light. Jadakiss, 46. Ice-T, 45. Queen Latifah, 44. Bun B, 43. Redman, 42. E40, 41. Dr. Dre, 40. Ludacris, 39. Gucci Mane, 38. Common, 37. Mos Def, 36. Future, 35. Chuck D, 34. Busta Rhymes, 33. T.I., 32. No, Slick Rick's not on here. Lil' Kim, 31. Lauryn Hill, 30. I don't know if Slick Rick's going to make this list.
Now, Mike, what in the hell make you think that Slick Rick and Kane is making this list when they got KRS at 24? We already know G-Rap's off the list right now. As soon as I saw KRS-One at 24, I was like, so Cool G-Rap will not be making this list? It's the first thing I said. I said, so Cool G-Rap won't be making this list.
So what does this say about Billboard and Vibe as it pertains to... I know they tried to give the 80s props in certain ways with Melly Mel, and I saw that Curtis Blow was on this list.
And I dig that.
And Rev Run. But I'm sorry. I think that... Because, again, I think there's a different Pioneers list. You can't put Rev Run and Curtis Blow on the list and not G-Rap, Slick Rick, and Kane. You can't.
It's very problematic.
I don't think there's anybody that's going to tell, and I say this respectfully, I don't think there's anybody that's going to tell you Curtis Blow's better than Kane.
Smoking rocks. Okay, so what I'd like to do is just highlight some of KRS-One's contributions to hip-hop.
Okay.
Just some of these small contributions. Can I interest you in Sex and Violence by Boogie Down Productions?
I love Sex and Violence. That's a dope album. Whew.
Sure is.
Yeah.
Can I maybe introduce you to Edutainment?
Dope album, too.
Where he literally produced and performed it all by himself.
He doesn't get a lot of credit for that.
Like Ghetto Music, The Blueprint. Yeah, a lot of people forget he produced and performed that whole album by himself. Ghetto Music, The Blueprint of Hip-Hop.
Very impactful, I would say.
Maybe some By All Means Necessary. Mike, are you familiar with the album By All Means Necessary?
My philosophy is a banger to this day.
Maybe Criminal Minded, Mike. Are you familiar with Criminal Minded?
Yeah.
Is there a classic song, or I don't know, 5 or 6 on there?
It's one of the greats. You've been blinded, looking for a style like mine, but can't find it.
Hold on. The people fixing the water line are at the door, Mike. I'm gonna let you kind of just look at the boogie down stuff, which is really like damn near KRS-One solo work.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're gonna like get to the actual stuff that's like KRS-One work.
Well, for the people out there, while you do that, Criminal Minded has South Bronx on it. 9mm Goes Bangs on it. The Bridge is Over's on it. And the song Criminal Minded itself. Poetry's on there. These are bangers, man. P is for Free is on there. Super Ho is on there. 36 Chambers of Super Chat says Chuck D near Future is wild. No disrespect to Future. Yeah, it is wild, man. Chuck D so different than any and everything out there. It's hard to even really rank him. You just have to rank him on a high level of respect, because he is the foundation of people like Tupac, people like Ice Cube, people like Face to a certain degree. Like that approach, that in your face, just straight to the point rhyming, like something else, man. KRS, let me read what they actually said about KRS in this 24th spot. So Billboard says KRS evolved from being the blast master to the teacher, a testament to his own lyrical and personal development. And if you ask me, it's also a testament to the power of hip-hop. As a lyrical purveyor of the violence that littered the Bronx neighborhood. Hold on, let me see. Make sure I ain't missing no super chat from you guys. The Bronx neighborhood, KRS-One started his career in the late 80s on the Boogie Down production classic Criminal Minded. However, after the murder of group member DJ Scott LaRock, he shifted to sonically conscious rap aimed at empowering black people and resolving the ills that plague the inner city communities. Works like BDP's By All Means Necessary and KRS formed the Stop the Violence movement, star-studded 1989 single Self-Destruction are some of the most powerful moments in hip-hop that hip-hop has ever witnessed. Excuse me. KRS-One is also battle-tested. In 1987, The Bridge is Over, recorded response to MC Shan's The Bridge, is one of the most respected and referenced diss records of all time. Now, they did a great job of highlighting him and his contributions and everything that he has done and stands for. And with that being said, when you look at the fact that this man evolved as an individual, personally and musically, lyrically took it everywhere from the streets to the political sector to the battle rap sector to just some freestyle b-boy shit. Like, who is really more rounded than KRS-One as an MC anyway? Like, you factor in the live performances, I think he's the best live performer ever in hip-hop, in my personal opinion.
And then there's the KRS-One album and Return of the Boom Bap on top of all of that.
Yes. His catalog is long. I personally...
The top 5 catalog. That's a top 5 catalog. Like, you understand? I just named off the top 5 catalog. That's better than Common's catalog.
As great as Big Daddy Kane is, he was outmatched in that verses because of KRS-One's extensive catalog. I think the matchup we needed in that verses was KRS and LL. That was the matchup that we needed.
I don't even know if LL want that, Mike.
I don't think so either. And I think when it was brought up to LL, he kind of like, shrugged it off. Because I feel like those two are the MCs in the 80s that transitioned to the 90s the best. One did it from an underground standpoint. The other one did it from a mainstream standpoint. I think that would have been very interesting to see on some hip-hop shit. Personally, I may have picked KRS.
Oh, no. I would pick KRS. Look, Mike, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7 albums, Mike. All of those, like, there are people, like, if somebody told me each one of these albums was classic, I wouldn't argue with them.
And he's still making albums. So
Dope albums.
Yeah. Listen. You know we love Rakim. Can't wait to talk to him and interview him. He don't have 7 albums like that.
Neither does Common. That's
Kane
what I'm saying. You
doesn't.
talk about Common having maybe a top 5 catalog. If Common has maybe a top 5 catalog, well, let me show you what a top 5 catalog actually looks like.
What's LL's
Mike,
7th album?
and you want to know what? The more we talk about it, Mike, you're right. We might have to, like I originally thought and like initially want to do, we might have to asterisk Big and Pac.
Yeah. Because the work that somebody like a KRS-One put in is just otherworldly. Him and G-Rap.
It's like I know Pac and Big, and and in Pac's case, it made enough material maybe to rival it. But it's like, even when we're saying all the things that we're saying, doesn't it feel strange even KRS-One even being 6 on our list?
It does. It really does.
These albums I just named.
What I was gonna ask you, man, what is LL's 7th album?
It don't look like this unless you're Nas or Jay or one of the faces. Scarface, Ghostface.
That's true. Jay Short with the super chat says KRS-One is top 10, but he doesn't make commercial music, and kind of did his own thing in the mid '90s in his heyday, and he's not the most media friendly artist. But we don't care about any of that, right? It's about the music. It's about the abilities. Who could out rap KRS on the stage? Who could out freestyle him? Who could out battle him? Right? Who could beat KRS in a battle? Beat him on stage? You know what I'm saying? Like, have the catalog that he has. He's a very, very fierce and tough competitor. We talk about Busta in that way, or at least people have been over the past couple of years. KRS is that with substance, lyrical dexterity,
like
battle tested, like, and classic albums, right?
This is what I mean. Like KRS can do records that like enforce his will on you. Like, imagine being in a versus with him, and you try to imagine LL being in a versus with him, and KRS-One does something like, "Oh yeah, a cappella." What the fuck is LL gonna do when that happens?
Nobody entertained the notion of Busta and KRS doing a versus. That should have happened. If Busta's everything that people are saying, nobody wanted a versus with Busta. If it's like KRS that, put him up against KRS-One. If it's like
KRS that,
yeah, because I think
KRS has more classic songs than Busta.
Of course he does. You know, and I think based on what I'm seeing here, Busta's going to be in the top 20. I don't think Prodigy's making this list either. Kendall Outlaw with the super chat says, we need a Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis versus L.A. Reid and Babyface. I agree. That's the versus we needed. You know, and no disrespect to Teddy Riley, but the versus we needed was Babyface and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. That's what we needed.
Oh, absolutely.
Matt Max with the super chat says, I watched the Kane versus. Kane held it down. His freestyles were elite and stopped LL bringing out Meth and Red. In his 90s hits, KRS is getting out of here. He said, and stop. LL's bringing out Meth and Red in his 90s hits. KRS is getting out of here. You really think? I don't know, man.
You want to Patreon that, Mike?
I would love to Patreon that. I'll take LL.
You know who I'm taking.
I'll take LL. LP with the super chat says, like KRS said, the only other rapper that covers as much ground as him with the streets, education, radio, battle, and longevity of records is Nas. And that's right when it comes to the battle too, right? He's the closest to what KRS embodies as an overall hip-hop MC.
You know who KRS-One says is the greatest MC of all time, right?
Is it Nas?
Hello?
I mean, real recognize real. What is this? Jay Gipp with the super chat says their top 10 will have 3K, Drake, and Wayne. The list is sus. You know, 3,000 shouldn't be in. I don't want to get on that soapbox again until we see his name here. I've seen LA Reid out here telling a story about the fact that the Love Below was recorded in 3 weeks because Big Boy was supposed to do a solo album, and it was all ready for Big Boy to do a solo album, and then 3000 was asking, when are you putting the album out? And then he came through in the clutch and, made Love Below in 3 weeks. I don't know, man. I wasn't there as a consumer. I don't remember it being like that, but whatever. I don't know.
You know what I remember, Mike? I can remember a Big Boy portion of an interview about this album where he was saying he was going to the studio to check up on Dre to see how his recording process was going, and that when he heard She Lives in My Lap,
I remember this story.
he told Dre, that's your first single. She Lives in My Lap is still my favorite song on the Love Below.
It's his best song that he's ever recorded as a solo artist.
I agree with you wholeheartedly when you say that. I still think it's the best song on the Love Below. I think it's the best song he's ever made. I agree. Now, unless you're telling me that conversation and those recordings and all of that happened in a 3-week time frame, which definitely isn't how it got framed by Big Boy at the time.
I remember reading that article.
At the time. Nor Andre at the time.
I remember reading that article, bro. Like, this was way before the album came out. And like you said, She Lives in My Lap was slated to be the first single. No one had even heard anything about Hey Y'all. When Hey Y'all came, I was like,
Hey Y'all was the last second.
Yeah. Yeah. And
that might have gotten recorded in the last 3 weeks. But
from what I understand, and I've heard this story too, there's obviously so many stories out there. There's like 10 different versions of Hey Y'all out there. This is what I'm going to say, and this is what I found conflicting in this interview. I never, ever, ever, and this is me that was in radio at that time, I never remember it ever being a push for a Big Boy solo album is coming. Never, ever. It was always, when's the next OutKast album? OutKast this, OutKast that. I mean, and if that's what it was, you guys did no promo on Big Boy as an individual solo artist, because that was never the thing.
Love Below posters running around fucking Atlanta.
Yeah, man. There was
what
never.
What are you talking about? Where?
There was never a Big Boy solo.
I just want to know where these 3 weeks came from, because Mike, you and I were in Atlanta around each other around this time. Like, come on, like, dude, like, you know how this happened. Like, stop doing that. Stop that.
I don't want to say anybody is fabricating things, but I got questions. I just got questions because, again, if it was like that, at no point, even when you look at Even in Darkness, right, that Dungeon Family album, we knew CeeLo was recording Perfect Imperfections at that time, and he released that, right? And it was, I think that's a very understated album too. We knew CeeLo was solo. There were, you know what I'm saying, they were promoting CeeLo as a solo artist. At no point were people getting ready for a Big Boy solo project. The label, LaFace had never did any promo for Big Boy as an individual. I don't remember it. I don't remember it at all. So everything was about the next OutKast album. The next OutKast album. It was OutKast, OutKast, OutKast. And I've never heard Dre tell that story. I've never heard Big Boy tell that story. I would imagine Big Boy would have been told a story like that. What I do remember is when Dre got on Greg Street's show, because they did promo for the album separately, which was weird, right? And the other thing that LA said is they weren't working together at the time. Well, Andre worked on Big Boy's album. He did a lot of production on there. But anyway, one of the things I do remember is when Andre was on Greg Street's show, he had his mother with him. And he was talking about the fact that he wanted to make a solo album. And so it sounded like he was actually working on his solo album first. But he said, and this was what was coming out of his mouth in 2003 when the album was coming out, he said that the label told him that, you know what, you guys are stronger as a brand of OutKast than you are as individuals. So we'll package your solo albums together. That's what he said. So I don't know.
I think
20 years goes by, people forget stuff, man, I guess. And it's funny, this is the 20th anniversary of the album, so maybe they're trying to gear it up for some big promotional package or something.
Do they have any sessions of these niggas actually doing rap songs together?
No. JB was here with a super chat, says, how many MCs must get dissed before somebody says don't fuck with Chris? Right.
These are valid questions. These are very valid questions.
Jay Shore with the super chat says, my point was they're not just ranking on music or content or impact. KRS never made these folks money like that. And I think that these lists are put out by labels to boost certain artists' streaming catalog. Well, that I totally agree on. And when you don't make them money, you're out of the cycle.
That I agree with.
And that's why I never believed that Chance the Rapper was a independent artist. Like, how's the Grammys going to showcase an artist that they have no stock in? That doesn't make sense. You win in Grammys and they have nothing to do with you and you have nothing to do with them. Anyway, all right, Curtis Blow is 23.
I just, it's just hard to qualify that. I just we're going to work on a Legends list. That's the best answer I can give for that.
Yeah, definitely. And similar to...
Hey, and you want to know what too, Mike? You're right about that whole Houdini thing. A whole bunch of people have been hitting me up there like, Coop. Like, Houdini? They're like, Coop, Houdini.
They're transcendent. Ghostface is 22. I like that.
They're paying attention to a little something.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting Ghost to be on this list. Do you think Ray is
going to be on the list, though? Do you think Ray's going to be on the list?
I don't know. It doesn't look good for Ray now.
So how does Ghostface get to 22 and Ray doesn't make the whole 50? That's problematic. DMX is 21. Hey, have no problem with that. It's good. You know what? The 20s were fine, I think. Outside of the whole pun thing, and I understand that.
I think the pun and the KRS thing are...
Oh, the KRS thing, obviously. Yeah, the KRS is definitely a misstep. But yeah, we'll pay attention more to, as I guess next week they're going to do the teens. But I think my prediction is here, we got 20 spots left, right?
Right, so here's what we know.
Mm-hmm.
Nas, J, Big, Pac, Eminem.
Yep, that's 5, right?
Rakim.
Yeah.
Drake,
yeah.
Kanye, Wayne, Snoop.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 10.
That's 10. I think they're going to put Missy and Nicki in there.
11, 12.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
That's 12. So we got 8 more spots, right? Let's see. Do you think 50 Cent?
Yes.
I'm going to put 50 in there. Well, yeah.
50.
It is Billboard. All right, hold up. J. Cole, Kendrick. That's... All right, so we got 5 more.
Yep.
J. Cole, Kendrick. 5 more.
I find it very hard to believe that Scarface isn't going to make this list, so we're going to say Scarface.
Scarface, okay. You think 3,000
Scarface doesn't make this list, Mike, I'm going to blow my shit. You understand?
He'll make the list. Do you think 3,000 is going to make the list?
Unfortunately.
Okay.
And misappropriated.
All right, so we got 3 spots left. And you don't think any of those spots are going to go to Kane, Slick Rick, G-Rap?
How? Listen to the artist.
Did you say LL already?
LL. That's
okay. Well, we got 2 more.
Now we know those guys aren't making that list.
So we got 2 more.
2 slots left. I want to go back and run this tape and see how accurate we are too.
Right. I want to go back and see how accurate we are too. This is gonna be fun. 2 spots left. I want to make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. What say you guys?
Ooh, let me see. Let me think.
Because I don't think Ray's gonna make it. I think Kane could make it and Slick Rick could make it. but I don't think G Rap's gonna make it. We got two.
Well, that's already out. So this I told you as soon as I saw KRS-One at 24, I was like, so there'll be no Cool G Rap on this list because that's where you would put him at, like roughly like on this list if he hadn't been here already, like for the people that you already ran down. You're right. The Game's not gonna make it.
I don't think Game's gonna make it. I don't think AZ's gonna make it. I don't think Lupe's gonna make it.
Yeah. Ooh, hold on. Lupe.
Think Lupe
there's 2 slots left?
2 slots left. 36 Chambers says they're gonna put Kendrick in the top 5 all time and reference.
They better not do that.
And they're gonna reference the mid steppers as a
Ice
game
Cube.
changer.
We forgot Ice Cube, Mike.
Got Ice
Somebody
Cube.
said Ice Cube.
And we got one more spot left. Okay.
And I think we might be right about this 22, Mike. I think we might have called the 20.
Do you think Eazy-E's gonna make it? No.
No.
All right, they're gonna put. He said 36 Chambers says they're gonna put Kendrick in the top 5 all time and reference the mid steppers as a game changer for the culture milestone, as a cultural milestone, or some other corporate music word salad to justify his placement. I'm sure. Do you think?
Who's the last person? Who are we missing, Mike? Let's shake rattle.
Who are we missing?
Too Short? The Short already on the list?
He's not.
Short Dog.
Okay.
They gotta have some because 40 made the list, right?
Yeah, 40 made the list.
Short. Too Short.
Oh no.
That's the thing we're missing.
No. Busta's who we're missing.
Wow. So Too Short's not making the list at all. Okay.
Or one of the people that we mentioned, I got Busta. I think Busta gets that last slot.
Hold on, Mike. Is Chuck D on this list already?
Yeah, he on the list. They got him at 34.
I hate that to slap the shit out of somebody. Okay.
Andrew Green with the super chat says, has Ice Cube been listed yet? No. Yeah, we covered that. Bruce Almighty, DJ Bruce Almighty says, Ross at 50. Accurate or disrespectful? I think disrespectful, but a lot of this is disrespectful. So, you know. I prefer
misappropriating.
I do think that Missy and Nicki are going to be on the list. So I don't think that's off. I think that based on how things are going and how they're trying to balance things out a little bit, I could see Missy making the list. Missy has been getting a lot of props lately. So let's go over that again, right? You said Nas, Jay, Eminem, Biggie, Pac, right? Rakim. Drake. Wayne. LL. Snoop. That's 10. Okay. So we got, and then second 10. Scarface.
Nicki, Missy. Said Busta. That's 14.
Cube,
15.
That's 15. J. Cole, Kendrick. That's 12. Who are the other 3 that we left out?
Not as easy as you think when you're running it back off the top of your head with no notes.
Right, with no pen or whatever.
Right.
We'll go back to the tape.
50.
Yeah, 50. Okay. 50's the other one. I'm trying to go by regions and time. Andre. Yep, there we go.
We got one more.
And we got one more. Who else do we say?
You said Busta or Too Short, right?
Nah, those were for the final spot. It's somebody else that. Oh, let me go through it. Who's that final person? I'm sure y'all were watching. Y'all know. Was there somebody more current? You already said Drake. We already said Nicki.
Said Cole, said Kendrick.
Who was that other spot?
Kanye. Somebody just said it, Kanye.
Okay. And they said Busta was already on the list at 33. My bad. So, yeah, Too Short. How did I forget Kanye?
Yeah. Oh, Busta was on the list at 33?
Yeah, Busta was on the list at 33. So, okay, let's throw Too Short in his spot.
Short Dog. Yeah, give me Short.
Yeah. 36 Chambers says Busta's already on the list at 33. Appreciate that. Good looking out, y'all.